next few weeks. Maybe it'll be before the next meeting, we can make an informed decision at the next meeting on which way we want to, what we want to pursue. Because whatever we're going to pursue, we're still several months away from any kind of completion. Certainly Spillman is going to be the quickest. If we go to a system that's going to be written by, coded by college kids, or not college kids, but grad students, I can't see it being less than 4 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's.
It'll be
You have a
more
lot.
complicated as well, Chief.
It's going to be more complex, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just comes down to what's going to serve the needs of our folks to get their job done more efficiently, and I think this has a lot to offer.
Our system is hanging on at the moment, but it's not going to be hanging on forever, and that's why we need to take action now, be a little proactive before we get the phone call that, hey, it's down and it won't wake up again. If that happens, then we're in the dumper.
I like the approach, Frank, because the transfer is risk too.
Well, I think
Because they're hosting.
I think that's a big part of it.
Huge.
They're hosting it, and that's not on us anymore. That's on a third party.
Who's in the business?
And they're in the business, and it's Motorola. That's really what it comes down to. So there isn't
And if then something goes wrong, it's on them. It's not on Mike or.
Look at Equifax.
Right. Michael, you had a...
Yes, I just wanted to say, the board approved an investment in the new server, and we're in the process of moving old CCRS onto the new server so that we can get the immediate benefits of data protection, power supply redundancy, etc. So I'm working on that right now. So your investment is not going to waste. That will help us with CCRS 1.0 now, get us on new hardware, more stable environment, until we're ready to migrate to wherever we're going.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Under new business. No, that next one. There's really nothing to pursue at this point. On the new business, vehicle repairs. We currently get our vehicles repaired at different places around the state, but I've asked Motor Pool head Frankie to come to us tonight with the proposals from a couple of different companies, just so that the board has a say in who we're using, such as Pep Boys, such as Quaker State, whichever company is out there can help us, because it doesn't make sense for vehicles in the south to drive north to get their vehicles changed, to get an oil change. So we just want to make sure we're getting the best price and doing it the right way. So.
Thanks. So I don't have necessarily specific numbers, because the numbers will vary based on whatever the given repair is at a given time. My percentages off. We have an account that we've had for a little while with Valvoline, who has some locations in the northern and central part of New Jersey, and they provide 20% off whatever the service is, up to what their limitations are. So they can do headlights and oil changes and windshield wiper replacements, but anything kind of heavier duty than that, Valvoline can't handle it. We've been using a shop in Hackensack for about 2 years now for all the major repairs. If we've had a transmission needs to be replaced or something like that, where most of that work has been being done for some time now, and get a fair amount of the work done pro bono because the gentleman's a member. The third is I wanted to open an account with Pep Boys. They have fleet pricing that's about 10% off of what the regular retail rate is. And the benefit of having this third option is not only to shop an individual repair, but also their locations are throughout the state. So if we have a car that's in Gloucester County or a car that's in Atlantic County that needs repair, we don't need to run it all the way up to Bergen just to have the repair done if Pep Boys can do it at a reasonable price. So I guess the motion that I'd be making is to give me the authority to open an account with Pep Boys as a third additional vendor, and so that I could shop repairs as they come up to make sure that we're getting the best price on this said repair.
Do we have a second?
I have a question first. Did we look at state contracts at those locations as well?
I've requested information on whether or not they are a certified state contract vendor. Pep Boys is not. They don't operate on the state contract. There are some shops around the state that will do it, but they're not necessarily all linked together. So it's not one bill that we're getting at the end of every month. It's an individual shop that honors the pricing, or it's a dealership. So we could potentially have vehicles serviced at a dealership that will get state contract pricing. It's just a matter of creating those relationships at those individual dealerships. All the major Ford and Chevy dealerships do honor the state contract pricing.
So can I, with your permission, submit a potential amendment to the motion
Sure.
to open up the Pep Boys contract or account for the time being while looking into getting onto the state contracts at vendors, if we're able to do that. So obviously we need a solution for now.
Is there state contract pricing on auto repair?
I don't know.
There is not.
I have to.
Parts and labor.
Well, I'm talking about the purchase of vehicles. There's
No,
absolutely
no,
state
the matter,
contract.
the matter.
There is for parts and labor as well. Like when we have a vehicle serviced at All American in
They're giving us a state
Paramus,
contract number.
they provide us with the state contract pricing, but that had to be, we had to set that up with the service writer that handles all the individual government accounts at that dealership. So it's not just like calling Ford and saying, hey, here's a card that you hand in at every Ford dealership to make sure that you ensure state contract pricing. It's having a relationship with whoever handles the fleet and government accounts at the individual dealership.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize it's a lot of work and you need something for now, so obviously we need the ability to take the cars for service. But moving into or exploring the idea of using the state contracts if they're available to us would be my recommendation.
Yeah, so my experience thus far has been that at least the dealership that is most local to me is willing to honor it, and they will bill us even though they're supposed to bill the Treasury Department directly on it. I don't have any issue going to the dealerships or calling the dealerships and making those relationships. But in the interim, as you had mentioned, we do have some vehicles that it's not worth driving 2 hours up and 2 hours back when we can have it fixed affordably in the county that the car normally operates in.
Okay, so do you want to restate
So I'll amend my amendment to opening up a Pep Boys account for the use of shopping vehicle repair rates while I begin to set up the state contract pricing at individual dealerships.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing there is none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on. We have an opportunity to do some advertising, and I think it's important that we start looking at that because right now we do nothing. The only voices that are out there are those who don't like us, those that have bad things to say. We need to get our own message out there. So Matt Stanton had put together, already contacted New Jersey Broadcasters Association. I had sent it all to everybody, and I resent it, I think about a week ago. This way we can get our message out there, and Matt, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. The other issue too, Steve, is you have the Spca advertises heavily in New Jersey. You see that on CNN, which is for an organization that has a ton of money. That's a very cheap way to do things.
I think they have 80,000 New Jersey donors.
Yeah, they do a lot of advertising. There's a lot of confusion all the time. So, the New Jersey Broadcasters Association are all the radio stations in the state of New Jersey, and a lot in New York, and there's a select number in New York, select number in Philadelphia, and all the television stations. And they operate a program called the PEP program, Public Education Program. What we worked out with them was it would be a $15,000 PEP sponsorship. That sponsorship would be 30-second and 60-second commercials run on every single radio station in the state of New Jersey, every single college radio station in the state of New Jersey. New York stations like 1010 Winds, WOR, WABC, those radio stations, a couple in Philadelphia, bigger ones in Philadelphia, for a 6-week time period, at least 4 times a day, usually more. The return on investment in terms of is guaranteed at 5 to 6 times your investment. It's probably going to be closer to 10. So for the $15,000 sponsorship, we probably get about $150, maybe $200,000 worth of airtime in return. It's only available to, it's a non-commercial program. You can't say, support this bill or, buy this. You have to be a nonprofit, and you have to be educating the public about something that is involved in the public. So the program would be focused on who we are, what we do, how we're funded, and drive traffic to the website to educate people about exactly who the NJSPCA is, what our function is, and if you want to report animal cruelty, this is how you do it. Please visit our website to learn more, and please donate and help us support what we've been doing for the last 150 years at no cost of Jersey taxpayers. That's basically what it would be. At the end of the program, we get affidavits from every single radio station confirming when it was played, how many times it was played. We're probably going to get 8 weeks out of it, given where we are in the schedule. The Broadcasters Association, how this works is every single radio station in the state of New Jersey donates time to a PEP bank, public education program. The association manages that bank in time. I'll just give you an example. They did a New Jersey Fish and Wildlife is a sponsor. They did a $180,000 sponsorship. They got $2.835 million worth of airtime for that sponsorship. And they use it for everything, like buy your hunter's license, bear hunting season, just basic water quality. So if it serves a public education purpose and you're a 501c3, it qualifies. So what I'd like to do is move forward with, oh, by the way, no production costs, no commissions at all. It's a straight 15 grand, done. So what I propose is that we move forward with the program, and that we would do we would draft with the NJPA, we would draft the 30 to 60 second commercials. We would go down to one of their member studios, we would record them with Steve or whoever, and you'll hear a tagline at the end of the radio spot that says, "This message was brought to you by the New Jersey SPCA, the New Jersey Broadcasters Association, and this station."
And we could rotate spots so it stays fresh.
There's a little flexibility here and there. You may, they'll work with us.
Times as well, it's not just.
These drive times, yeah, you're not going to be here at 3 in the morning.
Oh.
It's going to be drive
It's
times.
a real deal.
So you're going to get two. Usually it's 2 drive times in the AM, 2 drive times in the PM, and then in between.
Now, before we make a motion and vote on that, you would also send out, Matt Payne had asked about bus advertising.
Yeah, Matt. In the perfect world, when you're flush with cash, if you're going to do a radio buy, you would do some media, some paid media of advertising. And Matt saw some advertising for the, I think it was the Liberty Humane Society on, I believe it was a light rail vehicle.
Right.
So I used to work at New Jersey Transit. I know the people that manage the project, so I called them up and I said, "Listen, this is the situation. This is what we're doing." They sent me a proposal, and Steve, I don't have it in front of me, but it was $25,000.
That's just the last sheet.
And it's a remnant. It's a remnant buy, which is rack rate would be $128,000. The net, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be about $133,000 program that they discounted down to $25,000 because it's a 501c3, because it's a nonprofit, because of what we do. And that would provide 1 sheet posters, 15 units, 3 sheet posters, the tail lights in the back of the buses and interior buses, 200 tail lights, 500 interiors, and that would run for 4 weeks statewide. There are production costs involved with this that is included within the $25,000. It's actually a little bit shy of 25, it's 24.2. Just throwing it out there. I mean, it would make complete sense that as you're out there on the radio, you go out there and print as well. But it's a lot of money.
It is, to do both at the same
And
time.
both at the same time, absolutely.
I think I would like to see us do the radio, see what our return is.
See how it goes, yeah.
And then turn around and hit them with visuals.
Yeah, they were very. This is kind of their version of the PEP program,
Right.
and they call it a remnants. So this is like all the empty stuff that's out there, and they would just
help us develop a poster and take that poster in all those different sizes and slap it up in the system for 4 weeks.
Unless you ride on a train, or ride on a bus, or happen to just notice it, it's gonna be money that may be wasted. I don't know. At least radio, everybody listens at some point during the day, you know, and you probably have a better chance of tuning in and hearing us, hearing our message. So, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the New Jersey Broadcasters Association advertising PEP program.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Okay, any discussion?
What was the total cost?
How are
on
we
that?
gonna know what it's gonna bring, what the return's gonna
Can I
be?
give you an affidavit?
You gotta have Davis for every single radio station.
What? So the return, just be clear, I think it's a good idea, so let me preface by saying, so nobody gets done. The return on investment is the money that would normally be paid for the commercial airtime. When you said, it's a good question, right, what we would get, how we would know. Well, we know what our normal traffic is now. So the only two ways of doing it are to have some type of a code, but that wastes airtime, or to look at our normal traffic and then the traffic post radio time. So if we have those metrics or the ability to generate those metrics, Matt, you're the expert here, but I would suggest that that's probably the
You
easiest.
could watch the website traffic, but you're gonna hear the buzz. And you're gonna radio spots running for 6 to 8 weeks statewide. You're gonna hear it. You'll see.
Do we have any way of knowing with website traffic, how much is people going on and reporting cruelty as opposed to going on and making contributions?
Yes, I believe we do. There's Google Analytics where we can look at individual page hits, see
Okay.
who's hitting, who's looking at what.
Like, I think it's a good idea to do the advertising, but I'm concerned, are we going to be spending money to advertise to give us more cruelty investigations to do? Or is it going to bring back a financial return as well?
Well, I guess it'll depend on our message. We have to get both out there, I would guess. You know, we're the go-to team, but we also need your support.
Right.
So it'll have to be crafted.
That's a good question. Well,
You're gonna write
it is in
the
clip.
Yeah.
Okay, it'll be written to benefit us, obviously.
Okay.
But in turn, that benefits the cruelty investigations, which is the whole point of
Absolutely,
this whole
yep,
thing.
yep.
And just to put it on the record, I think it was very helpful to hear you talk about the fact that the state of New Jersey uses money to advertise for hunting licenses and other things.
Oh, yeah, DEA, Coast Guard, National Guard.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
They all
know,
do it
but
to the
it's
PEP
it's
program.
very helpful for you to put it on the record that state agencies use this vehicle to.
Well, that's why the program was created. And so the old public service announcements you used to see on channels like 2 and 4 years ago, you put on the end of the news site. That's what this is now. It's called PEP program.
Yeah.
What time period are we talking about? Like in the fall, like September, October? Or
I'd like to
do
start.
we pick it? or-
I'd like to start October 1 if we can, if we can do that.
Okay.
I can get a draft to you in a couple, 2-3 days, and maybe we should run it through the board. You know, we don't have 25 people editing the document.
No.
And then the NJBA has some people there that can help us and say, that's gonna sound really silly on radio, this will sound better.
Okay.
So they do this all the time. And then we'll go to one of their studios, we'll record it, and what they do is they put it on an audio file, and they blast fax it to all their, they blast email it to all their members. And they say, run this in the PEP rotation, done.
I can record it at CBS and just give you the file.
There you go. You know, you gotta have him there, because then, I'll talk to you,
Okay.
because he helps you, it's a whole thing.
Okay.
You may have to take a couple days off.
I'll take this. A couple more days off. Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? Any other questions?
No, it's a good idea.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?